Hey guys, the Hunter here with another deck profile, this time on the Ultimate Great Daiyusha deck build, which is also the deck that I used in the Omnicon Vanguard Tag Team Tournament with the specialist and everything, and we won first place. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that deck profile because I felt like doing it, and hope you guys like it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave comments after the video. Here we go. For the starter, I use Dimensional Robo Daiyusha. When you write a dimensional piece on top of it, you can call it out. And if you have a grade 2 Dimensional Robo, or actually grade 2 or greater, I think, you can put 4 of the units with Dimensional Robo on the rear guards into slow, and you let you superior ride a Dimensional Robo from your deck. So this is just in case I don't get the grades. Because normally I would want to ride a 1, 2, and then the Daiyusha. But sometimes I have to do this because I won't have the right number of Robos in the soul. So this is just a precaution, and so he's the starter. And just like I said, since it is a precaution and people normally don't want him to stay alive, so against Kagados and Arkamis or any kind of decks that pop units on the, or should I say retire units on the field, I have an extra one. So that's the starter, and then I have one more extra one in the deck just in case I have to do the skill and I got rid of the first one. So that's it for the starter, and the one extra spare just in case. The trigger lineup: 4 heals, 4 draws, and 8 critical. Well, which is the Justice Cobalt, and then the Dimensional Robo die battles. The die battles, I mean, most people want to do the Daiyusha skill because they want to put like die battles and Dielander, I think it's called, or something, Dimeaner, which you'll see right now in a bit in the great ones, because they like to have those cards in the soul where you take this skill. This has an effect that when you can take it out of the soul, put it in the drop zone, and then the Vanguard gets +3 into another turn. But it has to be a Robo, I think. Oh no, any dimensional piece. Take that back. So I normally don't like doing that because I'd rather keep 10k shields in my hand. But if I can afford to, and if I need to do the Daiyusha skill, then I will call it out, so that way it is in soul. And then when the time comes that I need to have that extra 3000k to the Vanguard, then I put it in the drop zone. But normally I don't really focus on doing that. It's just a precaution. So then 4 die battles. So for the triggers, grade 1s, I have Commander Laurel, just the one, just in case, because I do like its skill, and early on it helps because people can, well, normally, not always, people want damage in the beginning, so they'll take my Vanguard hit, and if I can call him out early on with a full field, then at least I can stand up Vanguard again and get that extra draw, or should I say extra drive check, which is adding an extra card to my hand. Or if it's a grade 3 already, then I get the extra 2 drive checks. So it's just to possibly build hand advantage early on, but I only run the 1, and then that's just for now, because after this video I'm going to discuss how I'm going to change this deck. But for now, one Glory Maker, again just the one, because this is a Robo deck and I try to make it completely as Robo as possible so that I can get the ultimate skill for Limit Break. So just the one Glory Maker. I used to run 2, but I'm trying to cut back on non-Robo cards and trying to make this as pure Robo as possible. So, and this is how I used it in the tournament, so it worked out fine with me. I usually, surprisingly, most of the time I actually did draw it, so I did have the 10k boost for the Vanguard. So just the one. 3 Diamond Ace, which is a perfect shield. No need to explain that. Perfect shields are perfect shields. 4 Dimensional Robo Dieminer or Dieminer. I can't really pronounce it that well. Forgive me for not pronouncing it that well, but it's basically the same thing as Die Battles, the critical trigger, where if this isn't a soul, you can remove it, put it in the drop zone, and it gives the Vanguard +3 until end of turn. Again, this is the other card I would prefer to be on the field if I need to have it in soul when I do the Daiyusha skill. And most of the times I'll just ride into it first for the grade 1. So that's 4 of those. Again, just because I want to keep it as pure Robo as possible. And 4 Dimensional Robo Dielanders, which I really like this skill, especially with Daiyusha. When I ride into Daiyusha and then I call this out, I counter blast 1, give the Vanguard +4, and well, it has to be Dimensional Robo, and that's the other thing about this. I mean, you can power up any Dimensional Robo on the field. It doesn't have to be the Vanguard, but obviously I prefer to do it with Daiyusha because it gives the Daiyusha the effect that if it's 14k or more when it attacks, it gets the extra critical. So it's like if you're having limit break already for that one turn. But yeah, I run 4 of this because I like the skill. So that's it for the grade 1s. Grade 2s. 2 Operator Girl Mikas for draw power. So if it hits anything, you can counter blast 2 and then you draw a card. 2 Twin Orders just because they're 10k vanillas. And 4 Super Dimensional Robo Die Ladies. Since I don't run any stands, well, at least not anymore. I used to. This one is not that useful anymore because it can only work as a rear guard, and it has to hit Vanguard, and then it lets you +3 any Robo. But I mean, if I can afford to, then I'll attack with her first as a rear guard, and then hopefully it hits, and then I can power up either Vanguard or the remaining rear guard. But it's not really a necessity anymore for me. It's not a priority for me to attack with her first. Normally I'll just attack with Vanguard first, but just in case, it's still kind of useful. But at the end of the video, like I said, I'm going to discuss how I'm going to switch this deck, and more likely this is going to be taken out. But for now, obviously it's in because it's the only Robo grade 2 that there is other than the one you'll see next. So 4 Die Ladies and 4 Dimensional Robo Die Dragon, which I really like because as long as you have a Dimensional Robo in the Vanguard, it gets +3 when it attacks, so it's a 12k attacker during your turn. So 4 of those. And then last but not least, the grade 3 lineup, which is, go ahead, there you go, Super Dimensional Robo Daiyusha. I run 3 of these. And I used to run 4 Daiyushas and 3 cross rides, but I noticed that it's technically better to run 4 cross rides in the deck, only because they're 11k, and normally I usually get the Daiyusha in hand anyway, and if I need to, then I'll do the Daiyusha skill to ride into it, so that way next turn I'll do the cross ride. But I haven't had that problem yet, except for maybe a few times. But even then, the cross ride is still, you still get the limit break as long as you have 3 Robos in the soul. So the only difference it makes having this in the soul is it gives the cross ride +2, so which you want still, but you can still survive without it, but it's fine. So that goes to my point, which is I run 4 Ultimate Dimensional Robo Great Daiyusha, which, I mean, obviously badass card. As long as you have 3 Robos in the soul and you have 4 more damage, it gets a skill where it gets the extra +2 and extra critical during your turn. So it's hitting for 2 damage at limit break, and if you have the Daiyusha in the soul, it gets the extra +2, so it's hitting for 15 instead of 13 on its own. So I love this card a lot. It helped a lot when the specialist and I were tag teaming, since we were both using 2 double crit Vanguards. It really pushed for game every time, and I think that's the reason why we were undefeated, because even if they guarded the Vanguard, if we got criticals, we would add it to the rear guards and they would still take that. So, and then sometimes they would even risk it where they would only guard for one trigger because that's all they could afford, and we would get the critical, so, or another trigger, but it would still hit for the 2 and possibly more. So I thought we did a good combination with that. But yep, so that's it for the ultimate Great Daiyusha deck build for the time being anyway. I'm pretty sure most of you guys, and if not the others, you research ahead like I do. There is going to be a trial deck for Dimensional Robos coming out. Well, it's already coming out in Japan, but I foresee it coming out possibly next summer. That's my prediction. And then there's also cards coming out in the box set 13, which I've only seen 4 confirmed, and might possibly be more Robos, we don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you, I guess, for those who do not do research, a sneak peek, I guess. There's I'm gonna start off with the trial deck cards first, which is the cards that I'm considering putting in, because I mean there are other cards in there, but I'm not gonna show the ones I'm not gonna put in. So first we have the heal trigger, the Dimensional Robo Go Rescue. Then there's the Dimensional Robo Die Crane, which is the draw trigger. That's basically what I'm gonna switch out for triggers only, the heal and the draw, because I'm gonna go ahead and keep the die battles as a critical. And I was considering putting the stand from the trial deck because it's a Robo, but I'm gonna go ahead and just leave the Kobolds in, even though they're not Robo cards, because that's gonna be basically the only non-Robo card in the deck, and I don't think that will hurt the deck so much. So, but then again, I'm gonna go ahead and probably play test it online later on once they put the cards online for play testing. Those are the triggers. Grade 1. This did come out as a promo already in Japan, but they are going to reprint it in the trial deck. And it's the Dimensional Robo Die Brave. Basically the same thing as Die Battles and Die Meaner, where if it's in the soul, you can put it in the drop zone, but it does have a different effect. This one, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. You can put it in the drop zone from your soul, and you choose one of your Dimensional Piece Vanguard, and it gets the counterblast 1. When this unit hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. So basically it just gives your Vanguard the skill where if it hits, you can counterblast 1 and draw. So it's kind of like a draw power card. I guess if you know you can hit, it'll work. I'm still going to put it in just because it's a 7k hitter rather than a 6k that most of the cards I have in my deck right now are. So yeah, that's about it. And then next is the Dimensional Robo Die Tiger. I'm definitely going to put this one in my deck. I'm not sure how my grade 1 lineup is going to change, but I do want this one in because it hits for early on, where if you have a Dimensional Robo as a Vanguard, it gets the extra +3, so it's a 10k grade 1 hitter at early on, and it can still be a good attacker actually late in the game too, if that's all you have for attacking. So I still think it's a really good card. I'm going to run it. Dimensional Robo Die Driller. It's a grade 2. Basically does the same thing as the Die Lander, where if you call it to rear guard, you counterblast, let's see, I think it's 1. Yeah, counterblast 1. And it gives +4 to any Dimensional Robo on the field, which can be Vanguard or rear guard, whichever. I'm not sure how many I'm going to run of these, but I do want to run it just because of the fact that I can power up Daiyusha or even power up another unit just to hit for magic numbers if the need comes. This one I definitely do want to run it. It's the Dimensional Robo Kaiser. It's basically going to be the grade 2 you would want to ride into when you ride to a grade 2, because once you ride something on top of this, it gives the Vanguard +5,000. So if you ride Daiyusha on top of this, it's already going to have automatically the extra crit, since it'll be 14 or greater when it attacks. So yeah, I do want to run this one. The Dimensional Robo Die Fighter. I kind of want to, like I said, I'm not sure how I'm going to switch up the grade 2 lineup. I'm definitely taking out the die ladies because they won't be necessary anymore. So I just need to rethink how I'm gonna do the grade 2 lineup. But if I have room for this, then I'll definitely put it in because it's a 10k vanilla and it's a robo. So that's about it. And last but not least, the new grade 3, which is gonna be the break right for the deck. Super Dimensional Robo Daiyusha. I think this card is pretty retarded. It is. I think it's honestly. I think it's too good. But just because it's too good doesn't mean it's impossible to beat. It's a limit break 4, counterblast 1. When a Dimensional Police writes his unit, obviously it gets the plus 10, but it also gives it an extra critical and the skill that when you drive check a grade 3, you can retire one of your opponent's guardians. So let's say they perfect shield you, you can retire it, and it even says in the card text right here. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, choose one of your opponent's guardians, retire it, and any effects with cannot be hit of that retired unit is negated. So if they perfect guard your Vanguard, if you drive check a 3, you can just retire it and the attack will still go through. So once you write ultimate great Daiyusha on top of this, it's pretty much game unless they get heals, and well, assuming you drive check a 3 and you retire their perfect shield or one of their guardians, which will make it just enough to hit. So I think it's pretty retarded. I like it. I'm definitely gonna make this deck. It will probably be one of my main decks, but of course in the future, because we won't be seeing this, like I said, predicting until next summer. I mean summer, not December. That's it for the trial deck cards. Next is the cards that have been confirmed for box 13. I'm showing the perfect shield because that's obviously I'm going to replace the diamond aces for these, because like I said, I want to make this pure robo so that the effects go off, especially for the ultimate. So, and I really do like the art for the perfect shield. It's Dimensional Robo Die Shield. This one for sure and I'm probably gonna put 4 perfect shields in the deck, because by then break rights will be out. So like I said, right now I'm not so concerned about having only 3 in a deck, but later on once break rights do come out, I am gonna put 4 perfect shields in every deck. So I'm gonna be running 4 of these. And then I'm gonna go ahead and show 3 more cards that have been confirmed that will be come out in box 13, but I don't think I'll run them. It's a new starter, the Die Magnum. You can put it into Soul and then you choose one of your Dimensional Police Vanguard and it gets +4. I mean, it could be kind of useful if you write into Daiyusha and it gives you the extra crit, but if you think about it, I'd rather play it safe and still use the Daiyusha, because at least that way if you're grade stuck, you can always still superior right into a grade 3, whether it's the Daiyusha or the break right, because obviously we'd rather do either or, because you wouldn't want to superior right into ultimate unless you really need to, and that's all you have for a choice. But yeah, I would probably keep the Daiyusha so we can superior right into the break right or Daiyusha. Dimensional Robo Die Cannon is a grade 1 that's been confirmed. Again, I wouldn't run this because it's a 6k. Its effect is decent, but I don't think I would want to use it. It says put this card into your soul and choose another of your rear guard Dimensional Robo in its card and put it into soul. So you basically put himself and another Robo into soul. It can be kind of useful, I guess, but the thing about this one is that it can only be used with a Daiyusha. So you choose one of your Vanguards with Daiyusha in its card name, and that unit gets +1 critical. I mean, honestly, I don't think I would see the need for that, since I mean the ultimates already have an extra critical. I don't think you need a third one, and the same thing with the Daiyusha. I mean, you could easily just power it up with something else and it gets the critical. So I don't see the need for this one. I'm not saying it's not good, it's just for what I'm thinking of, I probably wouldn't run it. And then last, a grade 2 Dimensional Robo Die Hard. This one basically lets you superior right into a grade 3. Rested though, so it says at the beginning of the attack step, if this unit's power is 13 or 1000 or greater, it gets the effect that choose 2 of your grade 3 I mean, yeah, 2 grade 3 cards with Dimensional Robo. So first of all, it has to be Dimensional Robo. You're more likely going to be getting rid of Daiyusha and the Break Right, which is not really, or even Ultimate, which you really don't want to do just to get a grade 3, because you put him into your soul. When this unit attacks, hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 with Dimensional Robo in its card name and write it rest. So honestly, I don't think it's that great. You lose 2 grade 3s in your hand, which could actually potentially be tackers. And I mean, the only thing I can see going for it is that you put Daiyusha in the soul, but then you might lose the chance to do the Break Right. So I really don't think I would run this one, even though it sounds decent. So, but I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's not good, but those 3 cards, the Die Hard, the Die Cannon, and the Die Magnum, I probably wouldn't run them in the deck. All the other cards I mentioned earlier, though, I more likely am going to put them in. It's just I need to figure out how many copies of each and how I'm going to make the deck build. So that's it for this deck build, deck profile on the Ultimate Great Daiyusha. I hope you guys liked it, and like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to leave some after the video, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Alright, see ya.